To kick off, let's hear from the someone who truly walks the talk when it comes to leadership and empowerment. Neerja Ganesh. Neerja is a three-time top 100 thought leaders by Thinkers 360, a TEDx speaker, and a mentor who has spoken at global forums like IEEE and NASCOM. After 25 years of career in IT, she now champions gender advocacy and leadership through her Trailblazer Hers program. Fun fact about Neerja is she was featured on the New York Times Square billboard. Neerja, the virtual stage is yours, and everyone, please feel free to drop your key takeaways from the chat as we go. Over to you.
Thank you so much. Let me first check video audio. Is all good? Have a thumbs up. Okay, great. Good morning, everyone. Absolutely thrilled to welcome you all on this first Saturday of the new year 2026 to the Voices of Change LinkedIn Writing Mindset Summit. Let me start by acknowledging each of you to have chosen to spend your Saturday with us here, and we will definitely make it a good time. I'm a storyteller, and hence I should tell a story here. And I know there are a few who are waiting for my stories to come by, so thank you. Some of you know that I've had 25 years of a corporate career, which I stepped out in 2017. LinkedIn started somewhere in the early 2000s. I never got onto it. I was kind of antisocial. I got onto Facebook because a friend of mine insisted I get onto that as she was in the US and she wanted to share pictures with me. And this seemed to be the only platform for that. So those of you who are the current generation can't really fathom this, how you cannot share pictures, but that's how we lived. But that was 2009. But I didn't want to go beyond Facebook, antisocial. Somewhere in 2015, I was contemplating a job change and I was told that I should be on LinkedIn. I created a profile and I only connected with people with whom I had worked before. So Facebook was only friends and family. LinkedIn, only those with whom I had worked. Any requests from others were declined. I probably had about 500 people in my connection list. In 2016, I felt there was some good information that was coming on my LinkedIn feed, and I slowly got a little more adventurous and I started pressing the like button. Till then, I was very, very quiet, right? So, the reason I pressed the like button was so that everybody else who's connected to me would probably get to know about that post and it would be useful for them. I really wonder what LinkedIn algorithms were like then. And in the same year, 2016, I attended a conference for women on a career break because my organization had asked me to put out a recommendation to hire women on a career. I went there, and that was my first conference outside of what my office would otherwise send me to. It was a non technology, non banking conference. I actually remember having asked Aradhna, my good friend here, who will be speaking later, and a few others who we call as Women Power, to come along with me. A Saturday like today, but it was at Taj. Good food, free food, and we could have had our masti, sneak in a little bit of work. But these women did not come along, and I went alone. That was my start to networking. And today people call me the networking queen, but that story for another day. What happened at that conference, among many other things, was that the panelists were from such diverse industries and backgrounds that I fell in love with what they were speaking, which is what I promised you all about today's speakers too. And I felt that the perspectives that they were bringing in was so different to what I was thinking about till then. And I was wondering, why is it that I have not been thinking like that? And I realized that I have been a frog in the well of banking technology. Back then, we did not have too many banking technology GCCs as we call them today, and most people just rotated among those few GCCs. So what I did when I returned home, or maybe even in the cab, on my way back, was to find all these speakers on LinkedIn and quietly follow them because I was too scared to send them a connection request. The idea was that when these speakers put out some content on LinkedIn or were going to speak elsewhere, I would get to know, and that would further enhance my perspectives. Of course, it did. I quit in 2017 without a job. A really bold thing to do. Anyway, long story short, I slowly graduated to connecting with people on LinkedIn, with strangers who I had heard at conferences, who I met as participants in conferences. I do hope some of you have already connected with other participants and speakers here. A couple of years back, I touched 30,000 connections on LinkedIn, and LinkedIn does not allow me any more connections. So every day I remove some redundant connections, make space for new ones. So please feel free to connect with me if you've already not done. There will be space for all of you. Now, during this journey is when I realized that brand presence I built with my content on LinkedIn, right? Starting with some reshares and then writing my own content. And none of that was done with an intention to build a brand. I was heading the Jobs for Her Foundation after I moved out to the corporate world. And I had to reshare the content that we are putting out on our official page for more viewership, as the official page was just picking up followers. So when I quit Jobs for Her Foundation after 18 months, and I decided to, start my own workshops. I remember I launched a free webinar. This was in 2019, and workshops were not yet a thing. Okay, I had 96 registrations, all women. And I had not promoted this to be an all women webinar. In fact, I had partnered with someone else to promote this who had been in the training space for a while, and he conducted sessions for mixed groups. Still, we had 96 women registering. And then it hit me the realization that without me knowing, a brand had got built that Neeraja only conducts sessions for women. And it's a very difficult brand to shake off. And I'm happy to, have that brand for me. That led me to start sharing my knowledge by conducting programs on personal branding. One of the things that we all know we need to do to enhance our personal brand is to showcase our work, achievements, thought leadership, etc. on LinkedIn. And I would tell all the participants who came to my workshops the same. Everyone would be thrilled and they would commit to doing, this as soon as they finished the workshop. They would get home or they would switch off the Zoom, but no LinkedIn writing would happen. I would meet them at several occasions and they would sheepishly say, yeah, I need to do it. I will do it. Last year, oh my God, it's already last year. We're 3 days into the new year. I started thinking about why is it that people, despite knowing that this is a must do, are not doing. And then I started seeing it. The fears, the doubts, the questions. Who will read my content? Why will my content be seen in this already cluttered content world? What if I get judged for it? And more such questions. And some of those questions came up on our participants group this morning also. Sitting there on a Saturday in September last year, I decided to launch a 7-day LinkedIn Writing Mindset Challenge. I called it a mindset shift, not a writing marathon. All they would write is one post at the end of the week, but that would happen because they would have experienced a mindset shift, which would compel them to write on LinkedIn. Now, that required a mindset shift in me. Till 2024, I only did corporate programs. Or if some platform like, say, GHCI invited me, then I would do a program for them. Why? Because I was scared. How, how to fill the open programs? Who would attend my programs? I would lose some money if I went ahead and invested and nobody came. I would lose faith if I could not fill my programs. But that Saturday last year in September, I said, I don't care. Let me take the plunge. What's the worst that can happen? A mantra that I live by. It was anyways going to be a virtual challenge, so I'm not going to lose money on venue, etc. If no one signs up, well, no one gets to know that no one signs up, right? And there were 13 signups. Wow. At the end of the 7 days, we had seen some success and requests for a second cohort. But this time with feedback that 7 days was too less. So we did a second cohort in October for 2 weeks with 16 participants. Cohort 3 in November with 18 participants. And I didn't think anyone would want to do LinkedIn writing in December, but I was wrong. We had 15 people signing up for cohort 4. That's what a mindset shift does. Just take the plunge and figure out as you go. A very different Neerja from someone who always needed to plan to the T, get all issues and risks stable, though I was a great project manager in my days, all contingencies in place, and still think whether it is worth or not to do. Now, beyond all the cohorts, I also got featured on New York Times Square billboard by TopMate, which is the platform I chose to use for launching all of this. Did I target that? Of course not. So mindset shifts can even get you there. And somewhere along during cohort three, I went to my daughter Sneha, who you will hear later today, and I said, I'm thinking of conducting a virtual summit. I think she must have thought this is another one of her bizarre ideas. Maybe she's sleepwalking, but I was not. I felt the need to make this into a bigger movement, to share what mindset shifts can do in any field. But today we talk about LinkedIn writing. And here we are. I told myself I would like 100 participants for the summit. Well, the universe heard. I closed it at 95, and I hope we have most of them here today because I wanted to keep some spare capacity, but I still had five more people knocking on the door, so I got to that 100. I also want to talk about the speakers that we have for today. Someone told me, Neerja, this is your first summit that you are organizing, and hence you should bring the top notch speakers from the globe. Of course, I could have tapped on the top notch speakers, and some of them would have kindly accepted too. But then why would you want to come to a Niche Spire summit to hear those speakers? You can hear them anywhere. I also had many people reach out to me saying that they would like to speak at this or future summits. So let me tell you all here. This summit is about participants who have experienced the LinkedIn writing mindset shifts. And hence the speakers are all from the four cohorts of the challenge that we ran. They are top notch when it comes to the subject matter expertise they own for this summit, which is all about LinkedIn writing. That is also the purpose behind the Niche Spies community, to elevate each other and to provide opportunities to each community member. Maybe there could be a future event where we need a different profile of a speaker, or you could be that speaker when you become part of the Niche Spies community, which you have already become by participating in this summit. Plus, there, the event has been planned, being executed, all by the cohort participants who are not experts in event management. That includes me too. But we are not here to offer you a Michelin star restaurant. We are here to offer you a Ghar ka dhaba, right from our hearts, served with authenticity. You will not be disappointed for sure. Let me end by quoting Carol Dweck, the authority on growth mindset. Mindset change is not about picking up a few pointers here and there. It's about seeing things in a new way. When people change to a growth mindset, they change from a judge and be judged framework to a learn and help learn framework. Their commitment is to growth. Growth takes plenty of time, effort, and mutual support, which we are all here to provide each other. And now for my own mantra, which I repeat, what's the worst that can happen? If you can deal with that, thank you once again for spending your Saturday with us. I believe each of you will have a mindset shift today about something in your lives and definitely about showing up on LinkedIn. Handing it back to Meenakshi, our MC for today, who was also part of the cohort 3 of the LWMC, LinkedIn Writing Mindset Challenge, as we like to call it.
Yeah.
Thank you.